Hi guys, Dr. Drwendydearborne here from the Laws of Attraction in Action, and that's the laws, plural, of attraction in action, with another episode of What Dad Said. And for those of you, if this is your first time, joining us for an episode of What Dad Said, my father loved parables, and this is whether they were biblical, whether it was scripture, whether it was spiritual, whether it came from, I don't know, Ernest Holmes, whether Dad liked parables, including making up his own. And he really did. Dad believed that a good parable allowed people to extract from it what they really needed. Dad believed that if you told a story and you used the story to communicate a message, people would have, their receptivity of it would be greater. Dad loved parables because, once again, it allowed people to take from that which they heard, that which they needed. So during his eulogy, I told one of Dad's favorite parables. And this was the parable that he'd be always tell. I mean, if I heard this once, I heard it 1,000,000 times. And believe me, I would love to hear it from his lips again. But he would, my younger sister, you say to her, what was Dad's favorite parable? And it would be this. And so I'm going to share this with you. And I know that many people have heard this before. Different versions said different ways. But I'm going to give you the straight up version that Dad had always given me. No twist on it today. This parable is about asking God for something and really being ready for anything. So here we go, guys. A terrible storm came into town, and the local officials sent out an emergency warning that the riverbanks would soon burst, they would overflow, and that they would flood nearby homes. The authorities ordered everybody in town to evacuate, and evacuate immediately. A faithful believer in God heard the warnings and decided to stay, saying to himself, I trust in God, and if I'm in danger, I know that my God will send a divine miracle to save me. Simple as that. The waters were rising rapidly, and actually several neighbors drove by, and as they drove by his house, they said to him, look, we're leaving. We have room in our car for you and a few of your possessions. Look, guys, look, please come with us. Please come with us. And the man declined. He declined. And he said, I have faith that God will save me. And the people drove on. As the faithful believer stood on his front porch, he watched the waters rise up. It started rising up the steps. And he stood there and he looked. And then a man in a canoe paddled by, and he said to him, look, hurry up, jump into the canoe. I've got room for you. The waters are rising quickly, man. Look, come on, I've got room for you. And the man simply said to him, no, thank you. No, thanks. God will save me. The floodwaters rose up his porch steps, and they began to fill his living room to the point where the man had to retreat to the second floor. He opened a window and was looking out, was looking at the waters, and a police motorboat saw him. The police in the motorboat saw him, and they cruised by in the motorboat, and with a foghorn they sort of said to him, hey, look, we will come up and we will rescue you, okay? We're coming to get you. We will rescue you. And the man waved them off. Look, use your time to save someone else. I have faith that God will save me. So no. Go spend your time saving somebody else. God will save me. the floodwaters continued to rise, and the man had to go up in the attic until he was out on the top of his roof. And along came a helicopter. They spotted him. One of the rescue crews dropped a ladder and climbed down the ladder and stuck his arm out and said to the man, "Hey, look, take my hand. Take my hand. Grab my hand. I won't drop you. We will get you to safety. Take my hand." And the man wrapped his arms around himself, standing on the roof with the water rising, and said, "No, thank you. No, God will save me." Shortly thereafter, the man's house splintered into 1,000,000 pieces as the floodwaters hit it, swept him away, his house, everything away, and the man drowned. When he was in heaven, the man stood before God, and I'm here to tell you, Holmes was a little ticked, okay? Actually, he was more than ticked. Holmes was ticked. Ticked. Holmes was ticked, right? He was through. And with a little bit of attitude, he said, "I put my faith in you. Why didn't you come and save me?" God was silent for so long that the man thought that God hadn't heard him. Finally, God looked at him deep within his eyes. That kind of look it penetrates to the soul. He looked him deep within his eyes and he said, "I sent you a warning. I sent you a car. I sent you a canoe. I sent you a motorboat, and I sent you a helicopter. What more were you looking for?" Now, this is my father's favorite, or was one of my father's favorite parables. And again, this is what we use to eulogize him in the end, because as I said earlier, Dad liked to leave people with something to think about, something to hold on to, something. And this parable simply says that when you ask your chosen deity, your God, your universal spirit, Father, Sky, Mother, Earth, Spirit, Elohim, Jesus, Christ, Mohammed, Buddha, Krishna, when you ask knowing that your answer can come in any shape or form. Don't ask telling God what God must do or your chosen deity. Don't do God's work. God's job is to send people, places, and things so you can have what you want. Not for you to dictate, which is what this man did. He didn't even really say how he wanted God to save him. He didn't even say what he wanted his divine miracle to be. Yet somewhere he must have known, because he was so ticked when he stood before God, demanding to know, why didn't you save me? When you ask for something, and you ask in truth, you ask in honesty, and you ask aright, it can come to you in any form. So be prepared. Be prepared for your answer, or the people, places, and things that you need to come, that will come to you in any form. Be prepared for it in that way. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of What Dad Said. And remember, your job is to know what you want. The universal creator, known to me as God, God's job is to create it for you. I'm Dr. Drwendydearborne. You can find me at the Laws of Attraction. And if you like this, be sure to like, subscribe and hit the notification button. Until next time, guys, peace.